I better solve it.
All right, for that money, who's this person?
Steven Spielberg.
Yes, that's it. I couldn't tell whether you were going to go again or not. You were thinking about it. Steven Spielberg, a lot of money, $4,100. What would you like from the TV
All
room?
right, then, $5.99, I'll take the video camera.
And then Konica CV-301 color video camera weighs only 1.6 pounds and is designed for easy use. Features advanced video technology from Konica, $599.
This is the 1985 Emerson model VCP700. This is a rather oddball combination here. I'll get into that in a second. But it was a thrift store find by Harley. First, he found only the VCR by itself. And then he was telling me about there was a camera bag near it. So we went back the next day and it was still there. Yeah, that's an original, it's at least a 1985 camera bag. And that contained the camera and the rest of the accessories. It was paired with this Konica camera. Compact video camera, new Cosvicon tube, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Has your exposure settings, your zoom, and your focus. Let's see, this is your start stop, pause control. Color video camera. Amazingly, the foam is still good on the microphone. I'm not sure what that connector's for. I'll have to look at this in a second. March 1985. And it does have an accessory shoe on top. In the back, open and close, as well as, that's kind of distorted, but that's how it was found. It's rubber. It's hard a little bit. I tried boiling it, but whatever. I do have the instruction manual for this as well. However, I can't show it to you because I remember I took it out of the bag when I took it out on an outing so it wouldn't get damaged. And I'm not sure where I put it last. It's not gone, it's just, I think I stuck it somewhere to flatten it out. I'll find it when I clean up the one room. Anyways, when I first got this, I knew at least 1986 Emersons, they used Mitsubishi as some of their VCRs. Little to my knowledge, when I took this apart, it was actually, this is an actual Orion made unit. And it's before the Thailand plant, so it's made in Japan, because Orion is a Japanese company. And the build quality on this is very, very good. And I'll show that when I go to the internals of it. Picture quality on it is, it's non-HQ. I would say it's on par with a Panasonic from that era, which is pretty average, I would say. So back to the camera. For its time, I believe this was the smallest tube-based camera made. And as you may have seen from the previous videos, I'll put the links in the upper right, it does not like low light at all. That's why they kind of look that way, but it gives it that feel to it, the aesthetic. This would be considered low end for 1985. So don't base this on what you know, thinking all tube cameras from that era were like that, and that's not true. But I like it nonetheless because it's just interesting to see it from all angles. Low end, high end, middle of the road, you know. Now where it gets even more interesting, it still has the original battery. And here it is right here. Let's see. 1984. I'm assuming that's December 17th, 1984, going by that date, which lines up with this whole unit here. Naturally, it did, but it's cool nonetheless that it even has the original box. So after I got this, I looked on eBay, and yes, there is a tuner for this. Although this is absolute, I would say absolute base model, low end for 1985. It does have a tuner, which is this guy, also in near mint condition. And as you can see, it's just one of the old style rotary tuners, slide rule. AFT switch, TV VCR for the RF modulator, and you got a switch between bands. I do not have the blonder tongue agile modulator hooked up, so I cannot demonstrate this, but it's here just to show. This is the back of the unit. The fixed cable that says RF in is actually RF out from the VCR. You could actually plug the RF out directly into the TV, but this passes it through. And there's your tuner input and output. Now, audio video out. That's how this interfaces with the VCR. Turn it. It actually just simply plugs into the line level AV inputs to do this, which means there's also no timer function at all. So yeah, so it's like I said, interesting to see it from all angles, but yeah. Anyways, tracking control, remote control for pause. I would assume pause, maybe it does more, I don't know. I need to find the remote for it, and I have the part numbers in the manual, which I need to find. Anyways, audio in, video in, DC 12 in, camera, and RF out. And if you're wondering what this Velcro strip is, this is how I made it portable. Now the thing is, with modern batteries, especially lithium ion, the nominal voltage is less than 12 volts. It starts off at probably maximum of 12.6, but nominal about 11 something. And the discharge rate is different than a lead acid, which is what this would normally accept. Lead acids pretty much have a flat discharge curve, and then right when they start to get where they need recharged is when that curve kind of goes, okay. Lithium ions don't work that way. They have, as they get used, it's like this, steady down. So what I ended up experimenting with and finding the best combination, I have this battery bank here, made in China, and yeah, 11.1 volts is the nominal, 12.6 was the max. I got, well, it says right there. But yeah, that's what you'd expect when it's fully charged. Now this battery bank, as you can see, don't go by the numbers there, but the batteries in this were, I haven't had this apart, but the batteries were supposedly Panasonic's 18650s, good for 3.2 amps a piece. So what they did, there's 9 batteries in here, and it's 3 sets are in parallel. So it gives a total ampacity of 6 amps on the 12 volt output on this. Here's the front. It's one of these deals that the black one is 12 volts, the yellow one is 9 volts, and you have a 5 volt USB. And there's a power switch and a battery indicator. This thing has some weight to it, but this Velcro here is how I attach it to the unit. And I made my own cable. I have my own barrel plugs. I soldered them together because here's the thing. Look, here's the problem. The outside of the barrel is positive. Normally that's negative, so I had to make my own cable to make this work. It's basically a crossover cable. Now, I was able to run this for a full 2 hours, recording that, mind you, before it even drops down to the next, you know, only 3 bars or 3 circles or whatever you want to say. And 2 hours is pretty good for this, because I mean, the original lead acid probably was only good for maybe an hour of use, maybe. And at the 3 bar or 3 circle mark or whatever is whenever the auxiliary motors kick in for changing modes, this battery light would flicker. That's fine. This means it dropped below, I think, 12 volts, like 11.9. This VCR shuts off at 10.9 volts. There's actually a trimmer in there to adjust it, but that's the absolute minimum lowest this will run at. So with enough ampacity behind it, it can run everything. I haven't tested to see how long it would really run. I only tested it on SP, because I don't use EP for anything. But if I were, I could press EP and let that, I might do that. I might just let this thing run all night, just because. So there's that. The power supply is also included. Let me turn it off. Yeah, there's a bunch of relays that click when you do that, and if I press eject on it, it's spring loaded. This is the battery or power supply, and it has a little clip on there where you can clip onto the battery to charge it externally like that. That was still included. Everything was included with this. And before we continue, let's take a look, see at the front. So you have power, which is pretty standard, of course. Okay. 2 speeds, SP and EP. Battery, as I mentioned how it works. A dew indicator, because it's a portable unit. And this front panel is that really nice frosty looking plastic. It's membrane, but it's really nice. LEDs for play, record, audio dubbing, pause. It is a 2-head unit, 4-digit tape counter, and that sticker's still on. Tinted window. So before we continue, let's take a look at the insides of this thing. Now this part of the video is from when I first got it almost 3 years ago. And after about a half hour of taking it apart, I finally got it to where it needs to be. Being a compact VCR, a little bit more involved. But that said, to my surprise, this is actually made by Orion. When I originally got this, I assumed it was OEM'd by Mitsubishi, as were normally their full-size units at the time were made by Mitsubishi. So this is an early example of an Orion VHS machine. I don't know when Orion started making VHS machines, because I believe I tried looking up Orion's history and I couldn't get much info. A lot of the dates on this are from late 1984. Hell, I was only 2 years old at the time when this was made. Very low hour unit. I mean, even look at the pinch roller. It's hardly anything on it. Video head drum's nice and shiny. So it looks like the only problem is the rubber idler tire needs reconditioned. There's no cracks or anything in it. 2 belts to drive the mechanical tape counter. When I took it underneath, the first thing, nothing again, there's a dead giveaway, there was an Orion, was this chip here, which is still used on their later units, even my 1990 Emerson VCR 964. But also this solenoid right here, identical. But to my surprise, it has a separate motor to drive the reel tables, a separate motor that's completely gear driven for the loading mechanism, which is also separate, being than the eject mechanism being a top loader. But the capstan motor is a single flat belt unit with nothing else attached. The belt is actually fine with no cracks. I'm just going to clean it with some rubber cleaner. So yeah, this is an early example of an Orion made unit. It's actually very clean and very well made. I was under the assumption it was, like I said, a Mitsubishi, but it's not. So let's get this thing rolling.
These commercials on tape too.
Now that we're back, we'll just demonstrate how this works. This is also the original shoulder strap for it. And there's the inside. It is very clean and minty inside. And as I said, the only thing I had to do extra was I actually had to take 400 grit sandpaper to the idler tire. It's in good shape, just needed sanded a little bit, and it's been fine since. But everything else works as it should. This tape is the tape I recorded in it originally. So here, press down. Being what it is, it does not thread the tape until you press play. I can demonstrate fast forward. Very quiet. Okay, then you hit play. It's interesting how early 80s VCRs have a different sound to the head drum motor than anything else after. I mean, just listen to how this sounds. I'll try to get it like right here. Well, kind of over top of the loading motor, but you heard it. It sounds, has an early 80s sound to it. This is one of the first things I recorded.
Of this Emerson VCP700 OEM'd by Orion, which was quite surprising, considering all their full-size VCRs were made by Mitsubishi during that time frame. This is being recorded on the camera included, which was the Konica, let's see, is there a model on here? CV-301. Just the focus a little bit. There we go.
Yeah, you can see how old this is. I'm still working on the CT100. And it's, TV's actually overloading the camera a little bit, but yes, Leah.
So here it is.
Where you at?
After a lengthy battle trying to get it to work right, no idea what went wrong.
I actually don't remember what the problem
But
was.
the whole thing's made in Japan, and it works beautifully. I forgot to reset the tape counter. So I gotta focus because it's we're gonna back up. So can I back up and focus in on this?
Oh, that's the tape reel making that
Yeah,
noise.
there you go.
Not the VCR, but the tape. It's
Emerson.
a 2000s era tape, and how cheap those were. Now this was the first thing I recorded, but outdoor recording does very well in bright light. So, and the linear audio on this is very good.
98. Let's get with it.
Yeah, it's 1985.
We're freaking on, we're on DV right now. Or no, we're on Digital 8.
Yep.
We're on Digital 8 right now, man.
Yep.
I'll bet your washing machine has the knob, doesn't it? It's not.
Oh yeah. 1978.
I bet you your vacuum cleaner has a headlight.
Yes, it does. That actually works.
I'll bet you your car says lights are on.
It does, and
Battery is low.
and it's
Gas
here
tank
now.
is low.
and it's here now.
Oh, is it really? Okay.
Yep.
I've seen it. Saw it once when I was at your house.
Yep, we'll bring it. We're gonna bring it again tomorrow morning.
Cool.
So.
It's their blend.
And this is Berkeley Beaver's camera. It's a, what, 1987 Sylvania? 88 Sylvania.
December 1988, Sylvania.
And it is sweet. CCD. Oh, and even has a flying erase head. That is sweet.
Works perfectly. Nothing wrong with it at all.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, normally when you do a queue function, it just goes right in the queue. This does something else I haven't investigated what it does, but see, watch, I'll hit Q. Yeah, it's typical 2-head. The head width is optimized right between LP and EP. So when you play SP tapes, that's why it looks the way it does. It's the head width is so narrow, but the track width is so much greater. Originally, the actual spec is 59 or 58 micron for SP. That's, you know, and this was just a cost-cutting measure. Make a 2-head unit. The heads are optimized for the slower speeds. That's why 4-heads better. I mean, you had 4-head and you had 4-head dual azimuth. I'm not going to get into that in this video. But yeah, recording outside looked very, very good. Let me see, here's rewind, or review, I should say. It's one thing I love about early 80s VCRs was the fact that you had a window. They see, just like everything, televisions, VCRs, anything. Early 80s is like one of the last greatest innovations of so many consumer electronics before everything just kind of went to bland and cheap. One thing I can definitely say that for are boom boxes. I mean, they're totally different animal during the early 80s. That bottom boombox I have to do a video on coming up soon. It's a rather unique one. Oh, even by Funai. The good Funai, that is. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Here's pause still. And the camera's going between one of the fields. Yeah, it's on my, but yeah, it's trying to display only one field's correct. The other field's going to be snowy. 2-head unit. All right, and audio dub, press and hold audio dub while you hit play and use a microphone and dub over. That's all that is. So we're gonna hit stop. Now this tape's actually done and ready for archiving. I have full 2 hours on it, and I'm gonna break the tab off and put a label on it, and it goes in the archives. This does use an infrared LED based end sensor system. Another reason why I love top loaders. So now we're going to record with the camera. Hit reset and hold record and press play. I'll put it in pause. Okay, so now we're recording on the unit. And let's see if I can do this while I'm recording two things at the same time. The underexposure light is indeed lit. This is me trying to look in the viewfinder with the camera. See, I went into play there. The red light's underexposure, the amber light's battery. I always have trouble recording CRTs, but here we go.
So now we're recording with the 1985 Emerson / Orion VCP700 on the Konica Color CV compact video camera, new Cosvicon tube. I believe it's a Matsushita tube. I came up with that.
Those cheap 2000s era tapes are noisy.
Now just to show zoom, I'll zoom in from here all the way to the fan, and I can adjust the focus. As you can see, it's all manual, but it does work just fine. Now we can zoom back out.
All right, so okay, and Emerson Collie will get this one for sure. This one's the significance of this tape is, mind you, I'm born after any tube TVs. I'm not talking tube as in this, I'm talking actual vacuum tube sets. And this tape was playing, that's why the case is a little beat up. It wasn't one of my good tapes but at the time, but yeah, it's a Survivor. But even though that's the case, see, if you store tapes properly, they'll still play fine. This tape was recorded in 1996. No dropouts, no tracking errors. It's recorded off cable TV on standard play. Oh yeah, the ghost. Where Rebecca falls in love with the ghost. For those of you who don't know, it's interesting. And this came out of one of the creator, Jim Magon. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. The relationship between Baloo and Rebecca was actually based on Sam and Rebecca from Cheers, and Rebecca's name in here was actually from Rebecca Howell from Cheers. There's a couple things going on. There's also another basis of this, of an early 80s TV show, which I still have to watch, called Tales of the Golden Monkey. I would say this is like from the second golden era of animation here. Time we'll probably never see again.
Sonic the Hedgehog will be right back.
This is extended play.
Check out Chicha Cherry, it's the very merry cherry, it's an orange, it's so fat, it's raw. Oh, escaping the great, with futuristic taste, that'll totally jack up your jaws. All the girls say, super fruity, super fruity flavor, and all your KA fans, I say the big man.
This was recorded in 1994 on my Emerson VCR 964 off WPTT Pittsburgh 22. I think it was channel 10 on our cable TV system back then. And once again, still plays perfectly. And I played this tape a lot when I was testing televisions.
As they teamed up with Little Caesar. Now you can get two mighty Dutch cups filled with Coke for $1. You can collect all four only at Little Caesar.
This is disturbing. This recording is almost 30 years old. Ooh, Star Trek when it was brand new.
Liberate his fellow Klingons who grew accustomed to life here. Never. But can one man end years of captivity? I won't allow you to destroy what we have. Are you afraid to die while escaping?
And like I said, most video noise you see is exaggerated by the camera.
Raise your weapons. Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation. Tonight at 6 on WPTT. Gotta hurry from it over, Mark.
Oh yeah, Hills.
Baseball club that's just for kids. The Pirates Kids Club. If you're between 5 and 12 years old, you can join and get 2 tickets to 2 Pirate games, plus a Pirates painter cap, a membership card, an autographed picture card, and my poster. Just stop by any participating Hills Department Store to register, or call 321-BUCK for more information about the Pirates Kids Club. It's Major League Fun,
There's your
and
date.
it's only available at Hills Department Stores, the place for kids.
And now back to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
The king of the YouTube poops.
What do we do, Sonic?
So, here's some extended play effects. That is pause. So as you can see what I mean about the heads being optimized for the slower speeds. Here's fast forward. And here's rewind. But yeah, it gets really good picture quality. I'm actually going to take back my remark about it being on par with Panasonic from that era. I would say this actually gets slightly better picture quality than some of the Panasonics from that era. Specifically on the extended play speed. That is really surprising me here. This looks really good. And again, no tracking errors or anything. This is how properly cared for machines and tapes are. And this tape, I would say, it was bounced around a little bit when I used it as a test tape. I was in the, wasn't like AV club or anything, but I was in the AV room in high school, hence the name on it. You see, I used to deliver TVs and VCRs to the classrooms and maintain them what I could. And that's where I again discovered that, but I used this as a test tape for a while. But again, it still plays fine. It's just been stored correctly all these years. Here, I'm mistracking it on purpose. See, this is the tracking control all the way to the left, and this is the tracking control all the way to the right. It's actually just barely coming out of tracking there, so it's actually pretty dead on in neutral. But yeah, I am really surprised at the quality on extended play here. Very good.
Here we go again.
Gee, the white
Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog will be right back.
The new neighbors are moving
Oh,
in.
here we go.
Maybe they'll have someone you can play with.
The only thing better than having a new Sega Genesis would be getting your hands on tons and tons of games, like Pink Panther, Disney's Beauty and the Beast, and McDonald's Treasureland Adventure.
GA for the rating system
play Sega
stabilized.
Sega Genesis and Game
Ah, the
Boy
Gen
sold
2
separately.
Sega Genesis.
Highlander, Sunday night at 7 o'clock on WPTT.
From Walt Disney Pictures to Henry Casey, White Fang was a loyal friend.
Come on, boy.
To a proud people, he was the key to an ancient prophecy. My dream told of the wolf that would lead us.
White Wolf!
Together, they must save a sacred homeland.
I'm warning you, don't go back up that mountain.
And bring the legend to life.
White Fang!
White Fang 2, Myth of the White Wolf, rated PG, starts Friday, April 15th.
Okay, so this was the early part of 1994 I recorded this.
Bubblicious, the ultimate bubble. In the ultimate flavors Latino tropical tango. Hit the open road with a bounty hunter out for justice. Lorenzo Lamas is the Renegade.
Saturday night at 9 o'clock on WPTT. And now back to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Night Road, call 931-5111. That's 931-5111.
Oh yeah, when this was still new.
In the heat of the night, weekdays at 4 on WPTT.
Oh, cool! Saved by the Bell.
It's the incredible Puffball. Japan!
sorry it's turned into like, I don't know how many minutes of this, but this was just interesting. I haven't, I mean, I know it's been more period correct to pull out like a 1985 tape, but this was just the one I had closest to me and relevant to our discussion, and it's with Emerson calling. But yeah, I'm really impressed with extended play quality on this thing. Oh, remember these commercials? I keep going here, I'm sorry.
Sure. Unsure. Sure. Unsure. When dryness really counts, be sure to be dry. Sure Solid has the most effective wetness fighting.
It's also more special to me because I recorded this. I remember doing it. I have the VCR that recorded it still.
Be sure to be dry.
Ooh, MASH. Damn it.
Fall in for a roll call of classic comedy.
MASH. Tonight at 7 and 7:30.
Damn, this station's pumping out all the great stuff. I miss stuff like this. Now I bet you I'm gonna get copyright if I let this play. But yep, that's it. And right here, this is the VCR that recorded it. The VCR 964 from 1990, although it bought it in 1991. And this is my first TV. Technically my third. I'll do a video on that in a little bit. This TV just turned 32 years old this year, and it still works fine. But yeah, I guess anyway, like even though I have some 80s material I could have played, it's more special knowing that I recorded this. Like I said, yeah, more 90s commercials. This kind of actually took away from the video because like this was like the main thing. Pop-Tarts. Spats. Nothing like that. No flutter in the audio, nothing. It just works. And like I said, I'm not going to put any direct uploads. You can check out the other videos I recorded. But that's how it works. It may be entry level, whatever, during that time frame, but it's still interesting to me. And it's still very well made. That's the important point. You had entry level back then, but it was still well made. And this is one of them. And I have all the lights off, that's why it looks weird, but I'm doing it now. I'm gonna leave the camera record all night on extended play 6-hour tapes, but I'm actually going to bed. This was a fully charged battery bank, and I'll see how far it gets. And I know it may not be totally realistic because when in actual use, you know, you're starting and stopping the tape, activating the motors, solenoids, whatever, it'll reduce the life. But it'll be interesting to see how long this can record. Not only that, but playback is probably double that because you're not powering the camera tube and all the other accessories while that's happening. So we'll see how it turns out in the morning. And right now it is the next day. After the 6-hour test, this is what happened. I started at 9:30 last night. I got up at 6:30 today. It apparently ran through the entire tape while running the camera and rewound the whole thing. But when I got up, the unit was shut off. So it dipped below 10.9 volts. And the lights, there's only 2 lit. So that's, in the words of Project Farm, very impressive. So yeah, it got quite a bit of use out of it. So now I gotta put this guy on charge and keep him on charge until, this isn't gonna be the only portable VCR. I have, oh geez, 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, I think I have 5. I forgot about that one. That's gonna be for a video coming up soon. 5 or 6 VHS units and the 2 SL2000s. Those cameras are gonna be recapped. Those would be considered more high-end than this. Still has a tube, still has some of the effects, but it should work a bit better than this. But it's just interesting to see, you know, even though it was, say, entry level, being the Correct me if I'm wrong, but this should be the most compact tube camera made. I mean, it's a pistol grip. You hold it like this and you record video. It's pretty unique. On that note, thanks for watching.
Special shout out and thanks to Liz and Maddie, our superstar patrons. Thanks again.
The end of mystery tape discussion. In transmission now, baby.